Capcom veterans Atsushi Inaba, Hideki Kamiya, and Shinji Mikami joined forces in 2007 to found PlatinumGames, operating out of Capcom's backyard in Osaka, Japan, while producing critically acclaimed games such as Bayonetta and Vanquish for Sega. These titles and several others set a cadence for Platinum, mixing combo-based action with over-the-top visuals for incomparable interactive experiences. All the while, however, Hideki Kamiya had another idea brewing in the back of his mind, a concept that would finally give respect to the larger-than-life creatures he'd long adored. Scalebound was to star a young man stranded in a fantastical world whose companion, the fire-breathing dragon named Thuban, constituted the last of its kind. Instead of an antagonistic or purely functional relationship, the two unlikely allies forged a bond that united them across storytelling and gameplay mechanics. Publisher Microsoft Studios fell head over heels for Platinum's pitch, signing a deal that would make the sprawling adventure exclusive to Xbox One. The public similarly grew attached to Scalebound, fawning over every screenshot and morsel of gameplay footage shown during its fleeting lifecycle. But it never actually saw the light of day, not outside of well-crafted vertical slices and glowing press previews. Announced during the nadir of the Xbox One's early days, Scalebound seemed a beacon of hope for the beleaguered console. Thus, all were surprised when Microsoft abruptly ceased development on the project, pulling the plug the year it was to hit store shelves. And the fact that Microsoft owns the intellectual property rights means the keys to Kamiya's unique vision remain outside of PlatinumGames' reach for an indeterminate length of time. This is the tragedy of Scalebound.
カナヤンが一人で一生懸命プログラム打っててね。何俺何も言ってないな。
Hideki Kamiya's fondness for action, adventure, and role-playing games informed his love of dinosaurs and gargantuan creatures like Godzilla. This passion followed the now storied game designer to Capcom to the extent that he envied Shu Takumi's role on Dino Crisis and wanted to swap projects despite working on Resident Evil 2. But Kamiya's passion was made manifest by other means. Moving dinosaur skeletons appeared in Devil May Cry, for example. The designer additionally referenced dinosaur movements for the game's Griffin Demon. Dragons also served as the thematic basis for Bayonetta's Fortitudo boss and influenced the creation of certain enemies in The Wonderful 101. These auxiliary depictions merely scratched the surface for Kamiya, who felt video games too often typecast dinosaurs and the like as either the villain, pet, or mode of transportation. In an attempt to flip the script, the pitching phase for PlatinumGames' first endeavor saw the Devil May Cry creator propose a game with dinosaurs as the main subject matter. Kamiya divulged in a GameSpot interview that Scalebound counted among the first concepts the studio considered after opening its doors. The project was initially pitched as a Wii experience starring a little girl through whom players could control dinosaurs with their Wii remote. Ultimately, other endeavors took precedent. After shipping Bayonetta in 2009, Platinum revisited the dinosaur game, keeping the child protagonist, but jettisoning the dinosaur theme in exchange for dragons. Building a prototype helped further flesh out the idea and led to Kamiya's realization that he'd much rather join the action instead of watching it. This line of thought begat another significant change, one wherein a slightly older swordsman replaced the little girl. Platinum shelved the project again soon thereafter, setting aside its dragon prototype to move forward with what would later become Wii U's The Wonderful 101. Towards the end of the Wii U title's development, Kamiya re-engaged the Dragon game, working alongside the studio's lead designer to compose a refined version of the concept document. At long last, the game designer had an opportunity to helm development on his dream. The Japanese outfitting to deal with a prominent Western publisher to help bring its co-founder's dream into reality.
Hello. Scalebound is the biggest game we've ever made at PlatinumGames. An action RPG where you can freely explore a vast, mysterious world on foot.
Over time, Japanese publishers had grown wary of original fare with a big budget and an independent studio attached. Japanese firms who produce these types of experiences thus turned to crowdfunding, licensing agreements, mobile game development, or leaving the industry flat out. Luckily for PlatinumGames at the time, translator and former Capcom producer Ben Judd facilitated a meeting with Microsoft that landed Scalebound a new home after it entered production around 2013. Creative producer Jean-Pierre Kellums told IGN that partnering with a Western publisher marked an important step for the studio, and by all accounts, the two fostered a great working relationship. According to Kamiya, Microsoft's very hands-on approach differed from that of Japanese publishers that followed a good old days business model in which the higher-ups were satisfied so long as the game worked out in the end. The team at Xbox similarly emphasized the final product, yet had a vested interest in the process by which its partners reached that point. Most importantly, Kamiya insisted Xbox's managerial efforts kept Platinum honest and streamlined production to the extent that they developed the game faster than usual. Microsoft's expertise enhanced the content of Scalebound as well. A self-aware Platinum knew that while most of its endeavors were critical darlings, they didn't exactly fly off the store shelves. Asking Microsoft's gaming division for advice on how best to attract a broader audience served as but one of many ways the Bayonetta creators stepped out of their comfort zone. As a result, skilled and advanced players were not the target audience. Instead, the studio tried appealing to a wider range of players by sidestepping the severe risk, reward type of feel that pervaded its previous adventures. Though certain design choices spawned from older pitches, the hope was that Scalebound's fantastical nature would further interest those who didn't typically give Platinum-developed games a second glance. The player character, Drew, participating in expansive battles between two large-scale creatures, provided Scalebound with its gameplay core. In true Platinum fashion, the protagonist wielded outrageous weapons, including swords that dwarfed Drew in size. And of the myriad tools at his disposal, many came imbued with elemental characteristics, such as the ability to deal fire damage. While this may have seemed like business as usual on paper, action role-playing elements sat at the forefront, a first for the development crew. But Kamiya & Co. remained adamant about carefully ingratiating the studio's signature action-centric DNA into Scalebound's more RPG qualities. Thus, the responsiveness of movement that helped separate Bayonetta and Devil May Cry from their counterparts pervaded the Dragon game, ensuring players would always feel in full control of Drew. Controlling the dragon, Thuban, proved integral as well, given Drew's ability to direct the creature's behavior on the battlefield. Yet, developers designed the companion AI such that Thuban could also act independently, obeying commands in a general sense while simultaneously responding to situations with some semblance of autonomy when necessary. Drew's command over Thuban extended to the dragon's aesthetic design too. Platinum wanted players to customize his appearance with skins that matched their preferences, emphasizing the unique bond that users were to build with the creature. Said bond represented the center of gravity for Scalebound, as the unlikely companions found themselves propelled into a mutually beneficial relationship whose growth could save the magical world of Draconis. This pairing, and its importance to the overarching narrative, harkened back to Hideki Kamiya's vision of designing a game where the dragon took center stage, hence the team prioritizing customization options for Thuban. The connection between Drew and Thuban blossomed out of their shared sense of isolation, with the former being unexpectedly thrust into Draconis from the modern world, and the latter constituting the last of his kind. Platinum notably designed Scalebound around the evolution of their relationship on levels both high and low. If Thuban died during a combat encounter, so too did his human companion, and vice versa. Their partnership even informed various gameplay mechanics apparent in the skill point system that rewarded users for healing the dragon or performing other supportive role-type actions. Speaking with IGN, game designer Yusuke Miyata explained that linking core systems to the budding union encouraged meaningful behaviors that ultimately benefited progression. Eventually, the duo would build up enough trust that enabled Drew to mount the dragon, and the same principle applied to unlockable joint attacks, a mechanic capable of amplifying the synchronicity between man and dragon. All told, Platinum seemingly had something special up its sleeve, another original IP that could help the industry break new ground. Microsoft Studios' creative director Ken Lobb boasted during an Inner Circle podcast appearance that Platinum had the chance to produce an all-time great game, and for a long while, It appeared audiences would get to someday make that judgment for themselves. But somewhere along the way, the Japanese studio's ambitious epic slowly began fading from view. PlatinumGames wowed audiences during Xbox's E3 2014 conference upon unveiling Scalebound with an action-packed reveal trailer, showcasing Drew's dragon form and his bond with Thuban. Other specifics about the Xbox One exclusive, such as its release date, remained under wraps at the time. But the developer and publisher assured hopeful players the role-playing title would leverage the power of Xbox Live to deliver dynamic and immersive gameplay. Despite offering a mere glimpse at the land of Draconis, the debut trailer captured the public's attention and held it until Scalebound's second showing more than a year later at Gamescom 2015. The 5-minute combat-filled Gamescom video depicted the RPG's dynamic duo taking on soldiers and mammoth-sized creatures. Drew employed short and long-range attacks. Meanwhile, his commands to Thuban, mixed with the fearsome predator's independent behaviors, intensified the moment-to-moment action. Better still, it was all backed by strictly diegetic music that played through Drew's headphones. In short, Gamescom 2015 set the tone for what people could expect from Scalebound's holiday 2016 release. The tail end of the trailer also teased 4-player co-op options, which would permit 3 additional users to pop into dungeon areas for boss battles. While this showing further intrigued onlookers, Platinum's eagerly anticipated Dragon game wasn't quite where it needed to be development-wise. That much became apparent in January 2016 when the company announced the project's delay to a nebulous 2017 launch window. Executives expressed pride in Scalebound's production in a statement, claiming progress had been going well, yet the extended development period would provide developers the time needed to implement the title's many innovative features and thrilling gameplay experiences. Within a year, however, these efforts had arguably been rendered fruitless. In January 2017, several sources familiar with Platinum's operations informed Kotaku that Scalebound was treading troubled waters and at risk of being canceled by Microsoft Studios. The publication learned of the project's descent into development hell, its alleged problems having plagued production for quite a while. From the public's point of view, the claim seemingly bore some semblance of truth, considering the events leading up to Kotaku's report. Microsoft removed its dedicated Scalebound page from the official Xbox website days before the report went live, and the action RPG conspicuously received no mention in an early January Xbox Wire post touting the then-upcoming releases across Microsoft-branded hardware. Fortunately, the publisher didn't let the public stew for too long. Just hours after cancellation rumors hit the web, Microsoft confirmed to the press its decision to cease production on Scalebound. This blow to the Xbox One lineup came following a string of canned exclusives, with Microsoft shelving the Phantom Dusk remake, Fable Legends, and Project Knoxville in 2015 and 2016. Scalebound's abandonment hit harder for some, though, thus resulting in the publisher receiving the brunt of the backlash, a response that Platinum would later denounce as unfair. In a 2019 VGC interview, PlatinumGames studio head Atsushi Inaba said the team opposed the ire directed at Microsoft following Scalebound's cancellation. Both sides failed, according to Inaba, who admitted Platinum didn't do its due diligence while developing the game. Unable to offer much in the way of specifics, the executive noted that painful lessons ensued from the Scalebound experience, each one strengthening the studio's growth. Irrespective of what happened and why, Platinum's fondness for Scalebound never faded. In fact, Inaba once told Eurogamer Portugal the crew would love to revisit the IP if given the opportunity. That opportunity would have to come with a blessing from Xbox, considering its ownership of the rights. Unfortunately, nothing suggests Microsoft has any interest in retreading old ground, meaning Hideki Kamiya's dream game remains trapped in limbo, a space the ambitious idea had already grown too comfortable in after years of waiting on the sidelines. Thank you for watching. We'd like to take this time to thank, by name, the generous patrons who have pledged to our Hall of Fame reward tier. Alex Moretti, and those currently subscribed to our producer reward tier. Brock Piviroto, Darirap Sigurdsson, GetWrecked.com, Kira May, Landy K. Hayes, Mario Herrera, Milkshake. If you enjoy our content, please consider subscribing to our channel and backing us on Patreon.